What It Look Like TV, we back. Thanks for joining me. On this one, we're going to go near and dear to my heart. We're going to take it to North Philly on this one. We're going to take it to Philadelphia, where because of the way crime has risen and the way young folks are out of control and trashing stores and the way people are running around snatching whole ATMs out of stores. If you saw, I did the little story on it happened in Baltimore. Now it's happening in Philly where they're running around snatching ATMs. Store owners are now starting to hire armed security. And you're starting to pull into these gas stations and it's literal armed security, men with machine guns standing around protecting the property. And it's causing a lot of debate. So let's see what they had to say about it on the news, and let's come back, chop it up amongst ourselves. You hit me up in the comments, tell me how y'all feel. And let's get into this. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's really going on.
All right, we got a question for you. Would this make you feel safe? Take a look. A security guard armed with a semi-automatic weapon. It's happening at a North Philly gas station. The owner coming up with the idea to scare off criminals. If you saw this, this is our go vote for tonight. Would you feel safer or uncomfortable? So right now the vote is 65% of you saying safer, 35% uncomfortable. So be sure to vote at fox29.com/go vote.
And that's very telling. That's very telling that the majority of the people that hit this poll up already said that they would vote in favor of it. So this is telling you the climate that's going on in the city right now. But let's proceed.
Annette, you spoke with the gas station owner who says this is needed to keep both his workers and customers safe.
Yeah, interesting listening to those numbers you just gave us, Sheba. So the store manager says that he had to do something more than call 911. And most customers, I'll tell you, that I talked to this evening on and off camera say that they support this, but there were a few who say they don't believe this is the right approach.
Before we even get into them, the owner was right. I'm pretty sure the response time where he's located in North Philadelphia was not reassuring to him, reaffirming to him, anything to him. It just let him know exactly who his patrons were. Because that's the same treatment that his patrons would get. Nobody's coming, and nobody's coming fast. So I just want y'all to have that in the back of y'all mind. It's not like he can call 911 and they're going to be there at the blink of an eye. Some nights it might be a little bit if it's a hot night, if there's a lot of things going on. That little petty store theft might be 5th, 6th on the list. You never know. But keep that in the back of your mind.
Hired security strapped with AR-15s or shotguns, standing guard and walking the property of this North Philly gas station and convenience store.
This is supposed to be a city, right? And you got the kids walking around. Guns like this should be on the battlefield.
Corey Berry says she's on board with it.
If you're trying to get gas, you live in a bad area, and the only place is here, and they're getting robbed all the time, I mean, I support the owner.
Neil Patel is the manager of this Carco shop franchise at Broad and Clearfield.
We are tired from this all nonsense, robbery.
When did any of y'all ever hear Carco? Who out there got Carco gas in their car right now? That tells you this man trying to grind from his way up. I don't care what nationality he is. I don't care what he is. This man trying to grind from the bottom up. He done went and bought a Carco franchise. He don't have a right to protect his investment? That's just a question. That's just a question. He don't have a right to protect his investment? I don't care where his business at. His customers don't deserve the right to go in there and be able to get gas and feel like they can leave safely. He doesn't have the right to keep the drugs off his property. Just some things to keep in mind, man, if y'all out there being judgmental against my man.
Drug trafficking, racketings, all kind of hanging around all gangs.
He shared with me these videos of what has led up to this drastic response to crime at his business.
How many times
Over the
y'all
past
letting that
few
happen?
weeks, he says his store was trashed by young people, an ATM stolen out of the store, and he says his car was vandalized while parked at the store.
They're forcing us to hire the security, high-level security, state level. I am fear for my safety.
Once you take the Mac machine laws, the armed security is a no-brainer. I can't continue to operate in here without security if they're brazen enough to come in here and snatch the ATM out. And I'm pretty sure he had to cover the loss of the ATM and the money in the ATM. For that, he should have just hired the armed guards. Sometimes you force people's hands, and it seems to me like this guy's hands they're being forced. And I'm pretty sure the customers appreciate being able to go there and pump their gas and feel like they're not going to be snatched out their car, had their car snatched.
Employee as well as my nice neighborhood, all customers.
So 3 weeks ago, he hired the Pennsylvania site state agents.
We wear Kevlar. We are trained. My guys go to training every other week. They're proficient with this.
Look at his
They're
face.
proficient
Look
with
at
the
his eye.
taser. They know the laws.
Andre Boyer is the chief of the company.
As a Pennsylvania state agent, that's what it says. The law tells us that
Big
we have a
meat
right
neck.
to protect this
He
property
won it.
in any means
Go on down
necessary.
there and play if you
and
want.
whatever force necessary to be used to protect it.
This man told employees he's against it. I asked Patel about it.
They feel like using guns, you know, when we have such a big problem with guns in the city, is not the right message.
And that's not a right. I understand that, but according to some people, violent people, they carry the gun. Then they're not afraid then, and this is the protection for neighborhood and the customers.
All right, so you heard him. He just said that people who are against this are concerned about the armed security, but they should be concerned about the bad guys who are out there carrying the guns. Meanwhile, Patel says that he's had a store there for about 20 years. He said the crime has gotten increasingly worse just over the past few years. And he tells me that in the past 3 weeks, he hasn't had any issues with the crime since bringing this company on.
And the people you talk to, Shawnette, I have this out on Twitter, and a lot of the comments are exactly what you got in response. This is where we are in the city. This is unfortunately what we need to do to keep our stores and our...
And I'm going to leave it on that note. That's what they feel they have to do. But I'm going to just tell y'all what this is reminiscent of to me. I remember being young and it being the mid-'80s, the late '80s. And things were simply out of control. Out of control. Something had to be done. I don't know what should have been done, but I know what happened. They dropped the mandatory minimums on everybody and started locking everybody up. And I see it about to happen again. And I see 20 years from now, everybody crying foul and crying victim and not understanding why they had to sit in jail for the last 20 years. Before they let this whole thing go to shit, they will lock all y'all up or get rid of all y'all. They not gonna let civil unrest mess this money train up. Once y'all get to a point where they feel that it's out of control, things will change, and it will change swiftly, and a lot of people and a lot of families will be affected. And we're about to reach that point, y'all. Y'all pushing it. Like I said, this is reminiscent of the late 80s. And there's a lot of people just getting home now that was locked up young in the late 80s. They not playing with y'all. Now these store owners ain't playing with y'all. A lot of y'all carjackers is getting shot. It's time to make a change. It's time for everybody to start trying to push towards something a little bit more positive. But once again, I thank you for joining me. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel about this. Like I said, I stand with the store owners. You know what I mean? feel for the mothers, the grandmothers, the women that got to try to get gas late at night. You can't even go to the gas station because you're scared you might get robbed. Some bull, man. Let's start taking the city back. Let's start protecting our people. Let's start treating everybody with a little bit more respect. You'd be surprised with treating the next man with respect to get you. You know what I mean? You never know. But on that note, it's What It Look Like TV. I appreciate you joining me. Appreciate you liking and subscribing the video. And if you made it to this point in the video, you my MVP, man. Appreciate you. Check me out on the next one. What It Look Like.